way I found about cryo was through a friend, and he knew you.
Yes.
And it just happened to be that he was a massive fan of LondonCryo, and he knew about my arthritis.
Yes.
And he was like, you should try cryo.
Yep.
And I was like, what is this world?
Yeah.
You know, we don't hear about it.
No, that's right. Hello, and welcome to the latest episode of Reinventing Cool. I'm your host, Maria Encebella, the founder of LondonCryo. On this podcast, I aim to talk to my guests throughout the process of their cryotherapy session, so you can get a behind-the-scenes look into the whole process while getting to know the guests better. Today's guest is Karina Patel. Karina Patel discovered that she had arthritis from quite a young age. By day, she is a personal trainer and helps people of all ages achieve their goals. At the age of just 14, she was diagnosed with arthritis and relies heavily on recovery to maintain her active lifestyle, with cryotherapy and the infrared sauna being some of her treatments. Welcome to today's episode of Reinventing Cool. How are you, Karina?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Very well, thank you.
Good. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. I'm excited to have you on this episode because you're someone in sports who actually suffers from arthritis.
That's right.
And as you know, cryotherapy was, in the form that we have it today, was developed by a Japanese doctor, Dr. Yamatachi. Back in the 70s, and he developed cryotherapy, or used cold therapy, to help one of his patients who suffered with rheumatoid arthritis. And we've seen it evolve since then. So it'll be really interesting to have your experience. So Karina, would you like to tell us a little bit about your story?
Of course, thank you for that, Maria, and it's a pleasure being here. So I actually grew up with rheumatoid arthritis from 14. I was a heavy runner, and running was something that I absolutely was obsessed with in high school. And I started having these really bad pains, and I thought it was just an overload from running. I decided to get it checked out, have a few blood tests, and it turns out I was positive for autoimmunity. And then it was further diagnosed that I had rheumatoid arthritis. Right. So it was something a bit odd back in the days, because people won't expect a young person at 14 to have arthritis. Right. But I kind of just took it as something like, okay, I'm not going to let this set me back. I was then further moved on to a physiotherapist, and he kind of noticed how extreme my inflammation got over the years, especially during the colder season. Right. After a year or two of physio, he then told me that I do need to stop running, and it wasn't that he told me to set back, he told me to completely stop it.
That would have been a shock to the system,
it really
right? Especially
was.
if something that you're passionate about.
Yeah, and I actually had a really difficult time growing up. I was bullied a lot. I was kind of like the outsider in school. So it was something that I knew that running was an escape zone for me. Mm-hmm. Like, it was the only way for me to actually enjoy my time as a childhood. You know, every day I'll be that person to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and sometimes I'd run in the evening as well, after work, after school. So it was a big shock. I then went back. I'd actually did quite a bit of research. This was probably around 16. I had this dream to be a track athlete. I'd shadow a lot of famous athletes, Olympians, and I knew one day I wanted to be that person. Right. And that really did drive me a lot. Yes. I looked a lot into strength and conditioning work, a lot of physio stuff myself, really understanding the muscle, the science behind what inflammation is, and arthritis in general. And I thought, there can't be just me. It can't just be me. Exactly. There has to be more of me out there. Yeah. And lo and behold, I found more athletes, actually Olympians, who still competed with rheumatoid arthritis. Oh, that's so interesting. So it really gave me a lot of insight, a lot of light into thinking I could be that person still. Yes. And can I just stop you there? Can I just take you back from when you were 14 to 16? Mm-hmm.
You got diagnosed when you were 14. Yeah. And then was it the running that... So what did you do between the ages of 14 and 16 to deal with the diagnosis? And then did you find there were many other people at that age who were suffering? Did you look for support groups around?
No, that's a really good question. I actually Googled a lot. Mm-hmm. You know, I searched a lot for support groups. I couldn't actually find anything. Now, I do know there's a support group called NRAS, which I am part of. And there's something called JIA, which is Juvenile Arthritis Society.
Right, okay.
That's for like younger infants.
Yes.
But for me, all I wanted was someone to talk to and actually understand why mentally this is draining me and I'm just not really happy. And it's also a lot about pain management.
Right.
I isolated myself a lot in school. I didn't really have many friends. I just kind of thought people didn't understand that.
Right.
It was quite hard for family to kind of resonate because, you know, you say you're in pain, but everyone's idea of pain is different.
Exactly.
And you don't want to be that person to complain all the time.
That's
you know?
right, yes. Does your family understand it now, all these years later, what you were going through?
I think they understand it, but I do get a lot of fatigue days or mornings where I just mentally struggle to think a lot.
And what do you do in those situations? Like, is there medication, or is it a mental wellness thing that you've got coping mechanisms to help you deal with that?
Yeah, so I'd say the last 5 years I've been on medication.
Right.
I've changed my medication 3 times. Only because they were more of a steroid mechanism rather than an actual healing thing.
Right.
And as you might know with RA, it's a very seasonal thing.
Yes.
So in the summer, I probably feel like I don't have anything wrong with me.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, as soon as autumn kicks in, you think, hang on a minute, what's going on?
Yeah.
And you realise this is what arthritis is. Now that mental health and coping mechanisms around that is really open. I do stay in check with that myself. So journaling, reading, self-care, self-love, and try and be around positivity and people.
That's really important.
It's really important. And I used to fight against that, thinking, oh no, I need to be this perfect self every day. I need to show up, I need to do this. But you know, balance is so important, and it's okay to have that setback because we're not robots at the end of the day.
That's right.
And I always tell people that those that don't have arthritis, you do have so much more available to you that you don't realise, you know.
That's right. But sadly, it does take some going through an experience like that you to have to put these tools in place. But everybody should really be taking that time for themselves anyway, right?
Exactly. And, you know, going back to last year, I had Raynaud's, which was called it was called during the COVID times, COVID toes. And it was a really severe condition on my feet where I got loads of blisters and rashes, and my shoes just didn't fit. My toes expanded. It was just not a very nice scene.
And was that COVID related, or was it something?
It wasn't COVID related. I never got COVID, but it was supposedly related to even like a carry of a COVID symptom. I don't know.
Wow, that's crazy.
Nowadays, you just don't know what people say, right?
Exactly. Are you suffering from that now as well?
No, but I am a bit worried that it will come up again in December.
Right.
So, you know, I'm a trainer now, but I decided to take a step back into going into the corporate world, so it's a lot easier physically for me.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But the main reason I decided to become a trainer 3 years ago was so that I could have a voice for people with rheumatoid arthritis, or all kinds of people with arthritis. You know, there's more than 100 types of it. And, you know, having clients with arthritis, it makes them a lot more resonable, the fact that I have it.
Exactly.
And people would not know it, you know?
Yeah, that's right. You come across as someone who's so positive and glowing that you would not realise that you actually have that.
I try. I have my down days as well.
Of course. I'm sure you do, but you carry it really well.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. And I think doing stuff like this and connecting with amazing people like you want to help people like us.
Exactly.
And it's not just for people with arthritis. You know, there's osteoarthritis, there's also other mental or physical conditions, and it's nice that, you know, the way Cryo was founded, it's now been more of a holistic wellbeing approach.
That's correct. Yeah, I agree, and that's what's been an amazing journey for me as well. Being in this space is like from the beginning, we actually have helped so many people who do suffer from all different kinds of autoimmune diseases, and cryotherapy does help with pain management. I mean, we don't just do cryo here; we do other treatments as well. But when we did establish LondonCryo to start with, it was just cryo, and it was people people, you know, in the fitness and wellness space, and then people with autoimmune diseases. That was one of the, you know, second categories of people that were coming in to see us, and we were really helping them come along and deal with their pain. So it's been a wonderful journey to see that, and that's why I'm glad. Obviously, that's what's got us connected as well.
Definitely, and I think, you know, the way I found about cryo was through a friend, and he knew you, and it just happened to be that he was a massive fan of LondonCryo, and he knew about my arthritis, and he was like, you should try cryo. And I was like, what is this world? You know, we don't hear about it.
No, that's right.
And, you know, I am part of NRAS, which is the National Rheumatoid Arthritis Society. And I've done several talks, and I've heard a few talks from people that are more prestigious in their field of arthritis. And one talk I highly remember was about pain management. The symptoms and the mechanisms and the coping situations around that. Food is a big one, mental health and lifestyle choices, you know, smoking, how regularly do you exercise. But there wasn't one about exposure to like heat and cold, which, you know, is quite common for people to go into the sauna or like have an ice pack. But do people really understand what it's doing to your body?
Exactly.
You know?
So that's why I'm glad you're starting your journey with us, because you're going to be using all these treatments, and we're going to be able to follow you during this journey just to see what impact it does have on your levels of pain management. You know, especially as we're going through winter, you're about to go into winter now, so it'll be exciting to track this.
I think it's a perfect time to start, because it's just kicking in for me now, and I think, you know, I've done a few sessions now. I've done 3 sessions, and I've done them regularly, so twice a week. And, you know, it's about 2 minutes, minus 110 degrees.
That's correct.
Which I never thought I'd be okay with. And I think it's actually better than an ice bath, because you know, you don't have that sharp shock to the body.
That's right.
And it settles in quite nicely. And, you know, before you know it, 2 minutes is gone.
Exactly. We'll go up to 3 minutes. So it's just
we're
getting started, it's 2 minutes. But then as you progress, obviously we'll go up to 3 minutes, and it'll get colder, go down to minus 130. But the research over the years has shown that you need to hit minus 110 or colder for the body to get the cryotherapy benefits. But you'll start to experiment with that as we go through the next few months together.
Actually, you know, when I was a track runner from 11 to 21, I never heard of cryo. So ice baths was something that I always did, and saunas. So, you know, if this is a really good way to start to spread the word for athletes, that's even better.
Oh no, I agree. Yeah, exactly. It'd be amazing to use this platform to get it out to as many people as possible. So do you find that that your training is impacted when you're having a period of pain because of the arthritis, or are you still able to carry on?
It is a huge impact. I think I feel like pure exhaustion, and I'm someone that still does it because I set myself up to do it. And I would be there, and I'm like, oh God, I really can't pick up this weight. You know, I think the hardest part is setting up like a deadlift or a squat rack, you know, that's half the job of effort. But for me, I think, okay, I have to listen to my body now, and it's only through like over the years I've decided to become less pressured on myself, that I have to do this, because I only end up failing and feeling worse the next few days after. And more so, you know, going to these groups with NRAS, that people do the same thing and it's benefited them. So,
and you feel like you're not alone, right?
Yes,
so
exactly.
It's important to have that feeling. So if I could just say, if there's a bit of advice you could give to anyone, especially at a young age, who's starting to experience these kind of pain symptoms, what would you say to them if you could look back in hindsight now?
I would say join a group. You know, there is so much more out there. And, you know, I could recommend absolutely NRAS, for sure. There's also a society called Arthritis Action, which have a different society, but it's, you know, you can join as many as you can, but being surrounded around people that has a similar or same condition as you, it's that feeling of sense of community. You know,
goes a long way.
You might want to talk to a friend or a family member, but they're just not really going to understand you. But that's fine, because we need to speak to people that can get that level of understanding.
That's right.
And be as open as you can. You know, I kept a lot in, and if I could change anything, you know, I would be that person to say, okay, reach out to someone that you really do trust as well.
Yes.
And, you know, life is a bit more enjoyable that way.
Yeah. And how much of an impact, you touched on this earlier, does nutrition have on a period of, you know, of pain through arthritis?
It does. I don't drink a lot.
Right.
Alcohol's a big one, and smoking. I don't smoke at all.
Right.
But foods with folic acid, such as beetroot, like high antioxidant food groups, such as celery, spinach, all the greens. What you do want to avoid is sugary foods or sugary fruits high in glucose, such as like grapes, or berries are great because they're high in antioxidants. Right. But also processed foods you don't want. And I think that's very much a lifestyle change that you have to decide. Yeah. I'm vegan now. Right. So it's been a journey, because, you know, you want to think about getting a protein intake. Yes. But you also want to stay quite plant-based. Yeah. But for me, it's been...
Has that been a positive change?
It's been a positive change, I feel so much cleaner in myself, and happier. And sometimes it does take going out of your way to prepare for food. Yes. But, you know, it's that self-care that we go back to, and knowing that you have this condition, you just have to work around it. And it's more about being in control. You know, saying no to things when there is temptation. And again, there's so much more variety out there. You've got vegan restaurants, you've got a lot of vegan options when you go to a cafe. So it's quite unlikely that you won't find something for you.
No, that's right. So Karina, tell us a little bit about what you're up to in the wellness space.
Sure. So I'm a trainer. Been a trainer for about 3 years now, but I've been a running coach for a bit longer, 4 years. Right. And that was from deciding to leave the track and field competitions and runs, and decided that I could take this further by being a fitness instructor as well. And that's fulfilled running and fitness in a more positive way, so I'm not completely out of that industry. So I do one-to-ones from all ranges, from say 20 to about 55, and I think that's the beauty of understanding people's bodies, where they're at, what their goals are, and it's a very good challenge for me. I do have a few clients that have arthritis, and it's nice because
you're able to relate to them,
absolutely,
right?
So, yeah. And I think, you know, the concept behind arthritis, people with arthritis, they say, oh no, I can't do a squat, oh my knees hurt. But actually, squats do benefit for knees, right? Right. And it's about doing it correctly. And you know, my mum used to say this all the time, and now she's just absolutely pain-free. She gets her down days, but she's had a knee surgery, and she's not someone that would say, no, I can't squat anymore. So that's a big change for me, because I've heard that for so many years.
That must make you quite proud, though, to see the transformation.
Exactly, and you know, I love that, because it brings me in a niche sector around fitness.
Of course.
And you know, even in my classes, you know, when I take classes, it's quite high impact. You know, you look at everyone in the room, and you just have to say, I really can't do this. But that's fine, you can regress into something else. So some say I do sympathise with my audience a bit more, because I understand the struggle. And just doing a plank, you know, is a struggle in itself.
Understand.
So, so I do that. I set up my Mind Body podcast over lockdown.
Fabulous. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Yes, so I really find it fascinating with mind-body connection, and through running, that's the only way I've been able to kind of understand that. I've read so much around it, lots of books over lockdown kept me occupied, and I thought one day I could really I could actually do this.
Yes.
I could actually say what I think, and people can hopefully feel the same way, or even help them through their down days. Sometimes just putting a pair of shoes on for 10-15 minute run, that's an achievement in itself.
It is, exactly. Yep.
So I then decided to create my own podcast, audio runs.
Right.
For
Tell us a bit about that.
people with arthritis.
Yes.
So I've attempted quite a few over lockdown on Strava, Nike app.
Yep.
And a few others, and it's just that I can't keep up. I struggle, and I then put myself down thinking, God, I just haven't really finished the whole audio.
Yeah.
So I thought, why don't I create something that people can do, with arthritis, and actually resonate with them, so they understand that feeling, and someone is telling them, okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
So that's something, and I can more than happy to put my details down.
Oh, please do. We'll get your details at the end of the episode, so they can definitely get in touch with you.
Yeah,
definitely.
Thank you.
Fabulous. So now, Karina, we're going to pivot into cryotherapy, which is why we're here today. Shortly, I'm going to get you to go through and do a cryotherapy session, because the podcast is all about people stepping outside their comfort zone and trying something new. And cryotherapy is something that probably people are still really scared to try, but we want to show them actually if you spend that 2 to 3 minutes in there, you're going to get so much more benefits out of it, and it's more mind over matter. So you've done a few sessions, so it's not the shock anymore. So you know what to expect. But we'll just be showing people how you go through your cryotherapy session. As well as cryotherapy, you're going to be doing a few other treatments with us on this journey, such as the red light therapy, the Normatec compression therapy, and the infrared sauna. So, we'll go through each one, and we can get you to explain to the audience what each of these treatments is and the benefits you're going to get from doing those. How does that sound to you?
I'm excited.
Okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
But let's do it. So Karina, you're going to be doing other treatments with us as well. So we've got the infrared sauna, the red light therapy, and the Normatec compression therapy. With the infrared sauna, do you want to tell us a little bit about what you're doing in there?
Yeah, so the step in, and it's about 25 minutes, so you can change the colour of the room. So I'm aware that it probably is an enhancer for different moods as well, and you can also change the temperature, music, so it's really like a space to just set in yourself and enjoy the sauna.
Yeah, and you're going to get the benefits of it detoxing the body, and that's, as long as we're doing it for 25 minutes, it creates the heat shock proteins, which are also beneficial for your immune system as well.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah. The red light therapy, so as you know, that's all about recharging the mitochondria in our cells, helping you recharge the body. So it'll be interesting to see the impact that it has on you when you are doing the red light treatment.
Yeah, so I would step in, I will stand on the board, and then when I'm ready, it would vibrate. So you just have to stay steady for about 5 minutes on one side and then 5 minutes on the other side.
That's right. And that's also great for your lymphatic system. That's why we do the combination of the treatments of the red light with the vibration plate.
Amazing.
And finally, we've got the Normatec compression therapy. So that's a 15-minute session where you sit with the Normatec legs. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your experience
so this is
there?
probably one of my favourites. It's quite enjoyable. You just have to sit down, relax, and just feel that massage coming through.
Yeah.
But it's also quite relieving because you feel every part of your muscle being massaged, but also getting that blood flowing and circulation, which is really important.
That's right, yeah. So it's great for people, especially because you're training.
Yeah.
It's great for DOMs. It helps you get rid of any lactic acid that you have in your system.
Yeah. And you can also do it for your arms and your hips as well, your waist, which is a really nice way to get that full body in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So we're ready for cryo now, so we'll just step inside. So Karina, how are you feeling before we step inside?
I'm really excited. It's been a while since I've done this, a week ago, but you can never really get used to the cold.
You can't, that's right, exactly.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for 6 years and I still go, oh, here we go, right? So I understand.
It's only 3
feeling.
minutes.
It's only 3 minutes. So I'm just going to pre-cool the machine.
Okay.
Are you ready to step
I'm
inside?
ready.
Okay.
Let's do it.
So, watch your step going in.
Thank you.
I'll just adjust the platform for you up the top. So, hands up the top, fantastic. So Karina, can I ask you, how many times a week do you actually do training?
I train 4 times a week. They tend to be full body sessions.
Yes.
Only because there's a lot of load if I do focus on lower body or upper body.
Yes.
And especially my wrists. So I feel like I get a lot out of the body.
Very good. And do you give yourself, with nutrition, do you give yourself any cheat days? Get you to keep turning around? Yeah.
On the weekends, but I still try to make sure that I get the nutrition in.
Yes.
So if it is a cheat day, I might add 1 or 2 things in.
Yeah.
But also, especially with our hormones, they do fluctuate. So
Yeah. Keep turning around for me. How are you feeling in there?
I'm feeling good. I'm just relaxing today. Just feeling shivers now.
That's a good feeling. That's the point that we want to get to. Take another quarter of a turn to face me over here. Fabulous. So 1 minute down, we've got 2 to go.
Nice.
It does go. Yeah, it helps when you're able to interact with someone. That's why it's always important to have someone in the room with you.
Yeah, so I'm feeling it more on my knees and my
Yep.
hips.
Yep.
Which I probably think this has the most information.
Exactly, and that's why you feel it. It's also the area where we don't have any fat there, so as the blood rushes through and it comes to your core areas, that's why you remain quite warm in this section over here.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We're at the halfway mark, a minute and a half to go.
Yeah, so halfway there now.
Yeah, we're halfway there.
Okay.
You feeling, how are you feeling?
Feeling like my body's getting numb.
Okay,
Yeah.
are you happy to keep going?
Yeah?
Yeah?
It's not that sharp pain I would get if I went in that spa.
Yes.
You know, that burning sensation.
Of course, that's right.
More gradual kind of hold.
Yes?
Yeah.
Please take another quarter of a turn. So a minute and 10 seconds to go.
Nice, okay.
Very good. If I get you to raise your arms all the way up for me.
Yeah. So when's the last time you did this?
This morning. I'm someone who likes to do this all the time. So
Yeah.
I enjoy training. I'm much older, so for me I get so many benefits from doing cryo.
Yeah.
Please take another quarter of a turn. Very good.
So I do it twice a week.
Yep.
That's more than enough, would you say?
It is, especially because that will help. I mean, it takes about 10 sessions intensely to start for your body to awaken the internal doctor and start getting the benefits of cryo.
Right.
Please take another quarter of a turn. Keep turning around with me. Very good. We've got 30 seconds left.
Oh, nice.
Very
Okay.
good. So 10. Very good.
And what's the reason for turning?
It's just because it's a vortex system, so it just helps the vapor
Right.
go around evenly. If I get you to put your arms down there like that, very good. Are you feeling okay?
Yeah, feeling great.
15 seconds.
Lovely.
I'm going to pass your gown over to you in 10 seconds.
Okay.
You're feeling okay? Almost there. Almost done. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. There you go. There you go. How are you feeling?
Feeling, do you know, I'm warming up quite quickly.
That's because,
crazy.
yeah, it's your metabolism that kicks in, and
Yeah.
that's why your blood rushes back out, and you do warm up right away.
Usually you want to jump into a sauna or something.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I'm warming up quite quickly.
That's good to hear.
Nice. Definitely doing a few more of those.
Very good. So what would you tell anyone who's still sitting on the fence? I mean, I know we're going to have another episode with you in about a month or two's time to see how you're progressing. But what would you say to anyone who's still sitting on the fence about trying cryo?
I would say, go for it. I would say try something that's different. There's a lot of things that can work, can't work, but it's scientifically proven that cryo does work.
Exactly.
And it takes time, but patience. And I think after each one, you would always feel a benefit. So I would definitely say give it a go.
Fantastic. Thank you for sharing your experience
Thank
with
you,
us.
Maria. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.